Today's League Lowdown leads us closer to home than usual. That's right, we're back in Britain to check in with sunny Scotland. A nation of glorious castles, plentiful tourist sites, stunning views, and vibrant cities packed with culture. From stunning lochs to rugged coastline, this is a country with plenty of spectacular scenery and no shortage of stunning wildlife too. Yes, life north of Hadrian's Wall is an adventure. From wrestling melodic windbags to weekends spent monster hunting. The Scots enjoy nothing more than getting around in before getting around in, and then frying up their favourite delicacies. But Scotland is also a hotbed of footballing history, and we're here to investigate whether this could be the scene of your next Football Manager adventure. So let's investigate the club's great and old in the League Lowdown Guide to Scotland. Welcome back to another League Lowdown, one where we have at least half a chance of pronouncing some of the teams correctly before we get into the episode. Thank you to the 3 people that helped massively with this episode, including wonderful FM21 YouTuber FM Edinburgh. We'll put a link to his YouTube channel in the description below. Also helping us out was JDH FM, who has his own Football Manager blog that again we will put links to below. And also to Twitch royalty Mozza Gaming, who alongside having one of the most entertaining streams on Twitch, also developed the Scottish non-league database that we're going to be featuring later on in this lowdown. We'll put links to Mozza's Twitch channel down there as well. Go and give him a follow. It might just be the best thing you do today. But without further ado, let's take a look at the league structure in Scotland. So straight out of the box, Scotland has 4 playable divisions in Football Manager. In the Premiership, there are 12 teams. They take part in a 33-game regular season before the league splits in half, with the top 6 playing each other again to create another 5 games, and the bottom 6 playing each other to see who's going to fall out of the league and who's going to have a play-out for the teams from the Scottish Championship. This time we've got a 10-team division with 2 promotion places and 2 potential relegation places, depending on if the team that finishes 9th lose their playoff to the team that's in the Scottish League 1, which follows a similar league structure during the season. And straight out of the box, you will also have a Scottish League 2 with 10 teams in it as well. The team that finishes 10th in that 4th tier has to go into a playoff with teams that might be in the Scottish Highland Football League or the Scottish Lowland League as well, the top 2 divisions of non-league football in Scotland. More on those 2 divisions later. But that's how the league structure works. Let's launch straight into looking at Scotland's big clubs with the Old Firm. So Scotland is one of those nations where the football landscape is dominated by 2 massive clubs. They both hail from the city of Glasgow, and we will look at Rangers first of all. They play at the nigh on 51,000 capacity Ibrox Stadium, and they are the 2nd most successful club in world football in terms of the total number of trophies that they have won, behind Egypt's Al Ahly. If we peek into their trophy room, well, you can see that 54 Scottish Premiership titles is the most of any club in this nation. And you've got to factor in, they're on a 9-season barren run without winning any of those, one that in real life they look like they might be about to end. You can add on to that 33 Scottish Cups and 27 Scottish League Cups as well. But perhaps the jewel in the crown is the 1972 Cup Winners' Cup final, where Rangers managed to beat Russian club Dynamo Moscow. They were also runners-up in the same competition in 1961 and 1967, and they were also runners-up in the UEFA Cup in 2008, where again they faced Russian competition, losing out to Zenit St. Petersburg. On the face of it, maybe taking charge of Rangers looks like quite a simple proposition, but the challenge would be to take them back to the top of European football. And if you wanted to make that task even harder, you could impose some conditions on yourself, like doing it just with Scottish players, perhaps. If you did want to produce your own talent, well, Rangers have some pretty decent facilities. They've got excellent training facilities, great youth facilities, good academy coaching and exceptional youth recruitment as well. So you can see that in terms of Scottish powerhouses, Rangers are right up there. But we should probably take a look at their Glasgow rivals. And those Glasgow rivals are, of course, Celtic, who play in a stadium that holds just over 60,000 fans. And they are currently on a run of winning 9 Scottish Premiership titles in a row, making them one of only 5 clubs in world football with more than 100 major honours in their history. 51 of those are Scottish Premiership titles, second only to Rangers. They've got 39 Scottish Cup wins as well, 19 League Cup wins, but perhaps the proudest night in the club's history was in 1967 when those Lisbon Lions became the first team from Britain to win a European trophy. And they are within just a couple of extra time periods of adding more European trophies to their roll call as well. In 1970, they lost the European Cup final in extra time to Dutch side Feyenoord. And in 2003, they took Jose Mourinho's Porto to extra time before Martin O'Neill's side eventually lost 3-2. Again, if you wanted to turn this in to a youth academy challenge, well, look, you would have some great facilities to do that with. You've got excellent training facilities, great youth facilities, good academy coaching and exceptional youth recruitment. So if you wanted to build a nation and create your own talent while taking Celtic back to the top of European football, well, you've got more than a helping hand from the facilities at their disposal. But for many people, they might be looking for a challenge outside of Scotland's old firm. So let's have a look at who their nearest challengers are. A team that has consistently challenged the old firm over recent seasons and had a very successful spell of their own in the 1980s under the stewardship of Alex Ferguson is, of course, Aberdeen. They've got 4 Scottish Premiership titles. You'll see 3 of those coming under Ferguson in the 80s. And they've also got 7 Scottish Cup victories as well and 6 League Cup victories. But you'll also notice they are the only Scottish team that has not 1 but 2 European trophies as well. In 1983, Ferguson guided them to the European Cup Winners' Cup title, beating Real Madrid in the final. And then the same year, they also played Hamburg, captained by Felix Magath, and beat them in the European Super Cup. If you like the idea of taking charge of a Scottish club outside of the old firm, but one that again has a rich history in European competition, well, Aberdeen are definitely an interesting proposition worth looking at. Another big club based in Scotland is Edinburgh-based Hibernian, who were the first British team ever to compete in Europe, and they reached the semi-final of the European Cup back in the 1950s. The 1950s was also when they won the last of their 4 Scottish Premiership titles, but they have had more recent success in the Scottish Cup, as well as in the Scottish League Cup as well. Being based in Edinburgh gives them a big support base by Scottish standards. And if you like the idea again of taking a club outside of the big 2 to the top of the Scottish game, well, Hibs are definitely one of the clubs that you could do that with. But if you're looking for a sleeping giant challenge in Football Manager and one that's outside of Scotland's top division, then look no further than Hibs' Edinburgh rivals, Heart of the Midlothian. Now, they also have trophies in their history. 4 Scottish Premiership titles, the last of which was in the 1960s, as well as 8 Scottish Cups and 4 Scottish League Cups as well. They are now in the second tier of Scottish football, but they've competed in the quarter-finals of European competition. In the 80s, they played Bayern Munich in a UEFA Cup quarter-final. They are itching for a manager with the skills to take them back to that level. Maybe that could be you, but Hearts are not the only sleeping giant that Scotland has to offer. Another interesting sleeping giant challenge could be to take over at Dundee United. They have won the Scottish Premiership themselves once in 1983, and they've got 2 Scottish Cup victories and 2 League Cup victories as well. And again, they have come within a whisker of winning European silverware. After their league title victory, the next season they made it all the way to the semi-finals of the European Cup before eventually losing to Roma. Roma, of course, going on to play Liverpool in the final, a final that Liverpool won after a penalty shootout victory. But in the mid-80s, the 1986-87 season no less, they also reached the final of the UEFA Cup before they lost to Swedish side IFK Göteborg. So Dundee United are another team that have flirted with European glory. Again, what a sleeping giant challenge it would be to take them back to those kind of occasions. But if you're prepared to go a little bit further back in history to find your sleeping giant and you don't mind dropping down the leagues to take charge of a club that's now in the 4th tier, well, Queen's Park might be an interesting place to start. They are Scotland's oldest club and a team that had won the Scottish Cup 10 times before the start of the 1900s. They also reached the final of the English FA Cup twice, losing to Blackburn Rovers on both occasions. They've produced some great players during their history, including current Liverpool and Scottish international Andrew Robertson. If you want a team that allows you to start at the bottom of Scottish football straight out of the box and try and steer them all the way to the big time, well, Queen's Park might be the team for you. If none of those challenges appeal, maybe the adventure you could embark on would be to add a second Scottish top division title to one of the clubs that have just won it the once. A team that you could do that with would be Kilmarnock, who've won the Cup and the League Cup, but 1965 was the only time they've ever reigned. In terms of winning the Scottish title, another Premiership team that you could do that with would be Motherwell, but you're going all the way back to the 1930s to find the time that they were crowned Kings of Scotland. If you're prepared to drop outside of the Premiership, by the way, a similar challenge awaits you at Dundee United City rivals Dundee. They were the Scottish Premiership winners in the 1960s, back in 1962. They've also won a Scottish Cup and 3 League Cups. But if we keep on dropping down the divisions, well, in Scottish League One there is Dumbarton, who won the Scottish Premiership, but all the way back in 1892. The year later they won the Scottish Cup. And taking that club from Scottish League One all the way to the top of the domestic game sounds like an epic challenge. But my goodness, thanks to Mozza Gaming, we have even more epic challenges that await us because we can now play in Scotland's non-league. If you visit the Steam Workshop, you will find Mozza's database that unlocks the non-league football pyramid in Scotland and gives you a whole new batch of challenges to sink your teeth into, such as in the Highland Football League you'll find Wick Academy, who are mainland Britain's most northerly football club, or at the foot of Ben Nevis you'll find Fort William, cruelly titled the worst football club in Britain, the stars of a BBC documentary. If we drop into the Scottish Lowland League, then as well as Mozza's favourite team BSC Glasgow, well, you will find upwardly mobile teams that you can take charge of, such as East Kilbride or Kelty Hearts, managed by former Scotland international and Rangers midfielder Barry Ferguson. In the Scottish Lowland League, you'll also find former league clubs competing, such as English team Berwick Rangers, who slipped out of the relegation trapdoor from the Scottish League system, and clubs like East Stirlingshire, who similarly suffered relegation a few years back and have not been able to regain their place in the Scottish Football League. You'll also find Phoenix clubs of famous names such as Gretna, who were playing European football and reaching Scottish Cup finals not that long ago. Below this, you have a whole host of leagues in this pyramid for you to find small clubs that you can lead to glory. So whether you like the idea of taking charge of Loch Ness or teams from the Orkney Isles, Mozza's database gives you a wealth of different non-league clubs that you could take to glory. So there you have the League Lowdown Guide to Scotland, a country that gives you a minimum of 4 divisions to play in. It poses some great challenges whether you want to take charge of one of the old firm and try and take them to the top of the European game, or you want to take charge of one of Scotland's other clubs and try and topple the big two. We'll see you very soon where we're going to make another nation the focus of our next League Lowdown.